Shifting from the current state of Utah's energy grid, let's look at what's possible for Utah's amazing energy grid and the potential for power generation. This is Utah's solar resources pulling from the NREL direct normal solar resource map, where the dark red is the highest and the orange would be the lowest, but all of Utah has an abundance of solar resources available. Theoretically, the area that's available for solar generation is 7.5% of the state's total surface area, and that equates to 6,300 square miles or 4 million acres. And that has a solar generating capacity potential of 826 gigawatts. So Utah has available 826 gigawatts of power. That's going to be an important number as we look at the potential of real market penetration that's available over the next 5, 10, and 20 years. And in order to achieve this number, they use several screening criteria. One, that the area had enough solar generation to make utility scale generation possible, and screened out the steeper slopes and the environmentally sensitive areas like national parks and wilderness areas. Utah is ranked 11th in the nation in installed solar. So number one powerhouse economy, but according to the U.S. News and Report scorecard, is 22nd in energy. And so as we look at the amount of solar installed in Utah, we can see huge growth. And in 2020 to 2021, there was an addition of 650 megawatts, bringing total capacity to 1.5 gigawatts. So there's 826 gigawatts of available potential. And in 2021, Utah had 1.5 gigawatts that it was currently generating. And this is by far the biggest portion at 66% of the renewable energy resources within the Utah generation profile. And the residential sector has also seen extraordinary growth, going from 6 megawatts in 2013 to 300 megawatts in 2020. Now, continuing to really look at Utah as a keystone state within the broader regional market, this is a table that shows solar generation as a percent of in-state generation. So how much of a state's total generation profile is currently coming from solar? And we can see that this 7-state regional market really makes up a huge portion of the nation's overall generation potential that's currently installed at 49%. So the Rocky Mountains already has a huge foundation of solar generation as a percent of in-state generation. And that foundation really sets the stage for extraordinary growth to continue to expand that penetration. And then really looking at the cooperatives is a key aspect to develop. Deseret Power, this regional 6-member cooperative, sits in this wonderful nexus of this regional market to be able to be an innovation hub and a real leader in continuing to build on this wonderful progress of solar in-state generation. So this is a 2021 Utah transmission study, which was comprehensive to really look at the option and benefits to unlock the massive resource potential of Utah. And in this, they looked at all the existing resource plans, all of the forecasted load data to accommodate population growth, and also the future transmission needs of how we deal with grid congestion and how we're going to need to upgrade the old traditional grid to become a super grid. And if we look at renewable energy generation in 2018, we can see that solar is the largest component, but the forecasts are really quite exciting because by 2025, it's forecasted to bring online 1.6 to 2 gigawatts of solar, building from that 1.5 gigawatts of currently installed generation. By 2030, it goes to 3.5 to 5.1 gigawatts. And by 2040, 5.5 to 9 gigawatts. So this represents a huge market opportunity for distributed and decentralized generation, specifically from agrivoltaic and storage systems, to be able to come in and participate in this massive amount of growth of potential that's already going to be coming in and forecasted for the state of Utah. So in this report, they break down Utah into 10 energy resource zones. And they use these 3 base, mid, and high scenarios to create a range of future scenarios for in-state resource development. And we're going to focus on the high potential scenario. And in that, what it shows is by 2030, they would need to add 291 miles of new and upgraded lines that would access more than 5 gigawatts of new generation. And this is also mirrored with energy storage capacity. And they're showing the cost of that would be approximately $578 million. So when we look at $578 million as potential investable capital ready to flow into the state to create this distributed generation. And it's interesting as we look at these different resource zones is areas of potential to be matched with the farms and ranches throughout our agricultural community to really come in and participate with these 3 different scenarios. So zeroing in to look at the energy resource zones, and we can see them broken down by central Utah, St. George, far south, West Desert, northern Utah, Mona, and Four Corners, and look at each of the scenarios to see how many megawatts is forecasted to come online in each one of the resource zones. And we can use this as a market indicator for the farms and ranches within that area to begin to match of how they can participate in providing this incredible addition of new generation that's coming online. And to highlight again how electric cooperatives are one of the great hopes for leading this regenerative transformation. Electric cooperatives are not for profit, and they power the majority of the landmass within the United States, showing 56% of all of the square area of the US is currently powered by cooperatives. They serve 42 million people, interestingly, including 92% of persistent poverty counties. So the areas that are economically underserved, they power over 21 million businesses. And because they're a nonprofit, they returned 1.5 billion in capital credits to their consumers or consumer members. So cooperatives are this unique sector that are perfectly positioned to integrate agrivoltaic and energy storage systems within our farms and ranch communities. And pulling from the NRECA, which is Electric Cooperative Association, it's interesting how well the values of electric cooperatives really match with this transformation potential. And they are to develop rural microgrids, advance electric vehicle charging networks, expand rural broadband access. So to be able to bring high internet connectivity along with more resilient power systems, promote clean energy resource development and deployment, and to continue to enhance grid resiliency and modernization efforts. And just to review the history, that we've already done this before, and that electric cooperatives are a really great force in powering rural America. And we can look back to the Rural Electric Cooperative for the 1930s that helped bring power to the rural areas. And in 1935, 9 out of 10 rural homes had no electric service. By 1938, 350 cooperative projects in 45 states were delivering electricity to 1.5 million farms. So just to highlight this, that from no power to the farms and ranches in rural areas, in 3 years, we had 350 new cooperative projects that were delivering electricity to 1.5 million farms. And it's really a beautiful thing to watch. This is a video that really shows how fast this transformation came in, and that by 1953, they'd reached 90% of all US farms had electrical power. So we've done this transformation before in arguably a harder way. This was pulling new wires and new generation to where today we already have the most powerful and modern grid in all of the world. And our opportunity is just as quickly to transform it from being a centralized energy system to a distributed and decentralized system. And farms and ranches, again, provide this incredible opportunity to lead that great transformation. So this is such a beautiful video that comes from the NRECA. And it's inspiring to witness our heritage and our history, and also the power that's available within our very innovative and resource conscious farming and ranching communities.
Imagine, if you will, what it must have been like after dark in the farms, ranches, and small towns of America 75 years ago. Before there was power, before there was electricity. But that was all about to change, and change it did when farmers, ranchers, and rural families banded together to shine a light on the need to turn the lights on in rural America. Cooperation created the electric co-ops, and the co-ops created a movement so profound that President Franklin Roosevelt said, "The forward march of electric cooperatives has an even more profound significance in terms of our fight to preserve democracy." Is there any finer representation of democracy at work than neighbors helping neighbors? When the electric co-ops were born, something much bigger happened. For when we turn the lights on, we help democratize the American dream for the people, families, farms, ranches, and businesses of rural America. The effect was so powerful that in 1940, a man sitting in a pew in a small rural church in Tennessee was moved to say, "Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you two things. The greatest thing in the world is to have God in your heart, and the next greatest thing on earth is to have electricity in your home." 75 years ago, a handful of farmers and ranchers, united by the common values of honesty, responsibility, equality, and solidarity, and armed only with a powerful purpose, took the lead, banded together, and answered the call. Today, a new generation of electric co-op members, just like the farmers, ranchers, and rural families did 75 years ago, must again answer the call. We are the owners of the co-ops and are the fabric of the communities in which we live and work. And as faith and trust in other institutions sing, the need to empower, inspire, and mobilize each other to take care of ourselves, our neighbors, and our communities rises. Let it be known, it is time for this new generation to turn the lights on again, to power, protect, and grow our communities, not just with the electricity of our infrastructure, but with the electricity of our purpose, passion, ideas, and will, to ensure that the quality of life in all of the communities in which we live and work is improved. For our purpose is a mighty one, to power communities and empower members to improve the quality of their lives. And when we live up to our purpose, we relight the American dream. Think back now about the profound impact our founding members made 3/4 of a century ago, and grab hold of that same spirit, because we are the electric cooperative members of tomorrow, and our work has just begun.
Oh, wow. It's just so inspiring to remember where we come from and what we've done before, and to really bring that same spirit and values to the opportunity to transform the most powerful and modern grid in the world into a more regenerative and more resilient, more secure, that can create abundance and prosperity for all. In that the state of Utah and Deseret Power Electric Cooperative, these 6-member cooperatives that cover such diverse areas of geography and ecology and communities of different values, but also connect to this broader regional market. And it's inspiring to feel how quickly this transformation can occur, and that this is the great potential for us to really integrate agrivoltaic storage and EVs into the very fabric of our communities. Thank you for taking the time to watch this section of the Utah Agrivoltaic Storage and EV Microgrid Market Intelligence Analysis. It's my prayer that you found a lot of really valuable knowledge and insights and hopefully inspiration about how you can participate in taking the great state of Utah and transforming it into more abundant, secure, and prosperous future for all Utahns, but how Utah is really a keystone state within the heart of the Rocky Mountains that has the opportunity to really integrate with this incredible 7-state regional market, and how Utah is an economic powerhouse and technological innovation hub can really inform that regional market, the broader United States and the world. And regardless of what channel you're finding this transmission, that you'd be inspired to watch all sections of this market intelligence analysis, which you can find at butterflypower.org. And we would be humbled and honored if you'd give it some love, a like, and share it, specifically with a farmer or a rancher or investors who are looking at investing their capital in ways to create a more regenerative future, or really anyone who's wanting to come and participate in this broad scale, bottom up, inside out transformation of our economy, our energy system, and our environment. And it's just a blessing to be here in this time and to participate in this great and good work. And we are the butterfly generation. It's time to rise and shine. Time to transform and fly.